Yo, welcome in, man. Today is October the 13th. This is the ChrisBeCappinn Show. We are doing team previews in this episode. And we got an Eastern Conference team and a Western Conference team, as we always do. We'll get into the Clippers and we'll get into the New York Knickerbockers. Take a second, hit the like button for me if you can as you join. Definitely helps the algorithm. Check out all the other team previews if you have not already. We got 10 teams left, and I'm gonna try to get a couple of these also posted. They've been done, but I'll get a couple more posted throughout the day. Next Friday, preseason ends, and the following week we have NBA action, real NBA action, the week of the 20th. So definitely check these, team previews out if you have not already. Kind of get caught up, subtractions, additions, strength of schedule for every single team in the NBA. And let's jump into it, man. First team we got up is the Los Angeles Clippers. This is a Clippers team that did really, really well last season. They finished 51-31 straight up, 37-44, one against the number. They ended up making the playoffs, going just 2-4 straight up and against the number before losing to the Dallas Mavericks and, having an unhealthy Kawhi Leonard yet again. The trend kind of repeats itself. They finished fourth in the Western Conference last season. They of course have a new stadium. They got the Intuit Dome this year out of Crypto.com arena with the Los Angeles Lakers. But it's gonna be a difficult year for the Clippers, in my opinion. And I think the books kind of agree with that as well. Whenever you lose a Paul George, it's a lot of offensive production that can be difficult to replace. Paul George is he's still an elite small forward. You can put him at the shooting guard position. He can actually play a little bit of the four as well. And then, of course, Russell Westbrook is also now not on this team. You lose some size as well with Mason Plumlee and Daniel Tice both exiting the team as well. So, in my opinion, this year, this is going to be a year of, growth for Terrence Mann. I think he's going to have to play well. When I look through the roster, he's the guy that kind of jumps out to me and really needs to take that next step. Norman Powell, I think, is going to have to, continue to play well. He played really, really well last year, but he's going to have to be in that player of the sixth player of the year, type category for this team to continue to do well. They do re-sign James Harden, agent James Harden. Ivica Zubac also comes back. I think, that two-man game is going to continue to do really, really well. James Harden loves throwing them picks. Zubac is one of the underrated, centers in the league. You also get Mo Bamba. Nicholas Batum finds his way back to the Clippers, it feels like, for the 100th time. They get Chris Dunn via trade. Derrick Jones Jr. comes over from the Dallas Mavericks. He's also going to have to play well because I do think he's going to be out there. I know Coach Tyronn Lue is a defensive-minded coach, and Derrick Jones Jr. is one of the better defenders, but he really struggled to shoot the ball well in the playoffs last year on the Dallas Mavericks. So he's going to have to play a little bit better than he played last year. His game needs to evolve a little bit, specifically with three-point shooting, especially playing on the team with James Harden, because you're going to need that spacing. And then they also bring in Kevin Porter Jr., giving him another shot, another chance as well. It just feels like the losses are a tad bit too much. Also, really difficult schedule for this team as well. Third most difficult schedule in the league. They have 13 games with the rest advantage, 13 games without it. But the 16 back-to-backs is a league high in the NFL right now. And that in the NBA, tied with a few other teams. But that feels like it could be a little bit too much for them to overcome. We know Kawhi Leonard typically sits out of a lot of back-to-backs he sits out of, and he's coming back off yet another injury. And it just doesn't feel like this team have enough. I mentioned, this team having, 51 wins last season. Their win total is continuing to drop. This was at 38.5. It's now down to 37.5 on FanDuel. You see that the odds for them to win the championship, 12,500 plus 12,500 on BetMGM. To win the Pacific Division, they actually projected to finish last and with the lowest amount of wins. 1,200 plus 1,200 is where you could get this team, and best odds are on BetMGM, as you guys can see in the graphic here. I'm not high on this team this season at all. I think, it's just too much to lose. And I know that they have the dome. I know I just can't trust the agent James Harden, though. Even though Coach Tyronn Lue is a really good defensive coach, I do think that he'll help this team to overachieve because, most people will be down on them. I just don't want to bet on the Clippers, especially given Kawhi Leonard's health. If he suffers some kind of setback injury, you'll get a much better number for the Clippers. I'm off the Clippers right now. I think it's a crowded Western Conference. I've been talking about this throughout the previews. This Western Conference is going to be difficult, and they're not in good standings as we kind of start. Transitioning from one team that loses a key player to one team that gains a key player, we got the New York Knickerbockers. This is a team that probably had their best season since the 2000 season. 50-32 last season straight up, 47-37-2 against the number. They played 13 playoff games, winning 7 of those, losing 6 before the injury bug really caught a hold of them. And Jalen Brunson, he was compromised a lot throughout the season, but really compromised him. OG Anunoby, of course, no Mitchell Robinson. He was already out. Julius Randle was on the team. He was out as well. So they still go out and kind of push all their chips to the middle of the table, man. Going back to last season, Brunson kind of leading the charge, definitely one of the better players in the NBA, one of the better guards by all means in the NBA. They make the big trade for OG Anunoby. Had a very, very solid bench as well, man. I'm about to say Caleb McBride, but McBride off that bench, Deuce played really, really well for this team. And it was more than just him, but like I said, losing in the semifinals to the Indiana Pacers, and a lot of it was, due to injuries. So what do? They re-sign Precious Achiuwa to keep some size there. OG Anunoby gets a contract extension. Jalen Brunson takes a massive discount. He continues to stay there. Obi Toppin, little brother, Jacob Toppin, re-signed him as well. And then they bring in Bates Diop. They trade, make the trade up the street for Mikal Bridges. Campaign signs in free agency. And then you add Karl-Anthony Towns when you subtract, Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle. Losing Isaiah Hartenstein also feels kind of big for this team as well. And Alex Burke off that bench played really well for them as well. Bogdanovich coming over, mid-season from the Detroit Pistons, never really felt like he kind of found his landing space for the team. He's not a great defender, and we know Thibodeau really likes to rely on defense, even if you can't shoot the ball and provide some space, and he wants you to do a little bit of both. So we'll see how that goes. Dante DiVincenzo is a pretty big loss in my opinion as well. Definitely hurts the bench. But we'll see how it goes. This is a Knicks team that's projected to do really, really well. Adding Mikal Bridges, like I talked about, kind of pushes all of their chips into the middle of the table. 5 future first-round picks is what it cost them. But the Knicks are, only caring about winning and winning right now. You add a Karl-Anthony Towns, who comes over and immediately helps this team be able to stretch the floor. So Brunson can play a little bit more one-on-one basketball with his crafty footwork and excellent mid-range game. So I think that helps out a lot. You're going to need Karl-Anthony Towns to keep his hands to himself, though. He, was one of the top 5, top 10, big men to be in foul trouble last year. He just always seemed to, keep his hands in the cookie jar, try to press up on guys. And he's not the, greatest on-ball defender, but in the playoffs, he played really, really well against Jokic. New York will need some depth as well. Specifically in the front court. So Precious Achiuwa may potentially have to play some big minutes if we see some Karl-Anthony Towns foul trouble. Because Mitchell Robinson, news just came out, I think earlier this week, that he's not going to be back until the calendar year. So Mitchell Robinson won't return until it looks like about January. Karl-Anthony Towns and Precious Achiuwa should have to play big because Jericho Sims really just hasn't been it for this team. Just a lot of inefficiencies for like he has to diversify a little bit, and he's a big. So we'll see how that goes with them, but we'll see how that goes specifically with the front court. I think the back court they'll be fine as long as Bridges can knock down some shots, and they have a healthy team. This team is projected to do really well. You can see that the championship odds at plus 850 are the third shortest, behind only the Boston Celtics and the Oklahoma City Thunder. To win the division, they are plus 290, but that's only because they're in the same division with the Boston Celtics. And the regular season win total is sitting at 53.5 as well. So books are expecting this team to win 3 more games than they won last season. And I could only agree with that. You look at their strength of schedules, the 5th most easiest, 10 games with the rest advantage, 12 games without it, and 15 back-to-backs. This is a team that, as long as Thibodeau don't run these guys into the ground, which he has been known to do, the Knicks, in my opinion, are the team that should compete best with the Boston Celtics and have a, real legitimate shot of being the biggest challenge for the Boston Celtics coming out the Eastern Conference again this season. But like I said, the depth, though, will be interesting in the front court. And it could take a while for this team to kind of gel as well. This is not the same. The principles are going to be the same. And, Karl-Anthony Towns is familiar with, with the coach, of course, Thibodeau, because he was a coach. He coached them when he was in Minnesota, of course. Way back, it feels like now, but it's going to be interesting, man. I like the Knicks a lot this season. I will say that, but now you got the expectations on the Knicks, and we'll see how they went from being hunting to being the hunted. So we'll see how that goes for them. But I do like the Knicks a lot this season. I love the defense. I love the OG Anunoby. I love that everybody's kind of bought in. I haven't even mentioned Josh Hart's name, but he'll continue to play really, really big for this team as well. It's an excellent rebounding team and an excellent defensive team. These are teams that I typically want to put my hard-earned money on. So those are my thoughts on the Knicks. Those are my thoughts on the Clippers, man. Resources, as always, are here. I won't talk too much about them, but these the referral codes are in the description of the video if you guys are interested in checking out either one of these resources. You can always cancel. You can always shoot me a DM on Twitter if you guys got, more questions about anything about either one of these. So check these out if you have not. And check out the other previews for the shows as well, man. If you made it this far, hit that like button for me if you can. If you're new to the channel, you definitely want to subscribe because, NBA season, we finished a little over 40 units last year. Continue to, do that. This is my 3rd year doing these previews. And super excited to, for the journey and everybody that's going to follow me this year. Best of luck on all your action that you have, as far as best that you play so far. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in.